Hey Void, I'm back, still trying to push through a few of these. This time I have a drink with me. So, with that, hopefully I can keep my voice strong enough for this. And this movie, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to say about it because this is a complex little film. Not really a little film, it's a long one. So, it's another of my Shutter Trek, but this one I had seen before. It was a couple years, probably like the year just before I started this channel that I watched this film when I was doing one of my October binges, and I just took a bunch of films out from the library. And I was pleasantly surprised by some of the movies I found there. Some of them were really good, this being one of them. Most of them were fantastic crap, but not sure if that was one of the years where I was recording myself talking about them, because I did a few of them and mostly just posted them to directly to Facebook, so those videos are probably lost at this point. But I digress. Right, movie. The Wailing. South Korean film, also known as Gokseong. Again, apologize for likely poor pronunciation. This one came out 2016 and... Sorry, yes, 2016. And immediately caught a lot of attention. This one pops up a lot for horror movie recommendations, particularly for people looking for international releases, and it is a very strong contender. A lot of people say it's incredibly terrifying, and I don't really find it that frightening, but I do find this movie fascinating. And, like, for a lore standpoint, and just watching this whole town just fall apart, there's a lot to enjoy about this movie. But I didn't find it overall that scary, despite what a lot of reviewers will try to say on it. But that said, it is still a very good movie. Okay, so this one's tough to describe, and I will say, having seen it the first time, like I liked it, but parts of it towards the end I was having problems following. Second viewing did help a lot with that, but still there is a lot of nuances that are going on. Particularly, even the main character doesn't understand exactly what has happened to him. But it's sort of a metaphysical issue thing, so there might be some minor spoilers as I try to explain some things. But, so if you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. This one's a 7 MacGuffin for me, I'll just say right out. So, yeah, check it out. Okay. I'll try to signpost when I'm actually going to get into spoiler territory, so I can at least describe the plot a bit. Well, so, there's a small village, and, well, it seems to start be going to hell. Now, our main character is a police officer, and not a very good one. He's mocked on the force. He's kind of just a shitty cop. Anyway, especially as we see how he handles the investigation later. Well, he comes to investigate a murder. Well, as it seems, a man just suddenly went crazy and murdered his wife. And at first, he just gets a call that someone died, and then he gets there, and it's this terrible murder, and the guy's just there zoned out. Well, things are getting weird as bodies start piling up as more weird cases of random violence happen throughout the town. Another lady they see walking around naked suddenly. Then the next day, she's burned her house down with herself and her husband inside. Another person is just hung mysteriously in the street, and, well, things are strange. Now, there's a lot of rumors that the new stranger who came to town recently is behind it, a Japanese man who just mostly keeps to himself, but a lot of people are quick to blame the outsider, the foreigner. So they blame the Japanese man. Well, when they start investigating the Japanese man, well, they pretty much kick in his door and just start tearing things apart. Not a very good look. They find some weird shrine-looking things and determine that he might be some people claim he's a witch, some people claim he's a ghost. Anyway, they see some cultic things and seem to indicate that he might be behind it. Well, shortly thereafter, the cop's daughter gets sick and seems to be possessed. So, meanwhile, he's trying to figure out what's going wrong with his daughter, get her an exorcism, but at the same time, there's something still going on with the Japanese guy. So he's going back and roughing up the Japanese man, kills his dog, just starts harassing the guy. So is he right? Is he wrong? Well, And there's also a mysterious woman dressed in white that is likewise trying to guide him, but at the same time seems to be also sinister. So, and the priest that is helping him, well, the more he does his ritual, the more his daughter seems to not be reacting well. Is it because of the demon inside of her, or is the ritual actually killing her? There is a lot going on that it takes a lot to interpret towards the end, and there is a decent explanation for a lot of it. But some of the timey-wimey, well, not quite timey-wimey aspect towards the end does make it a little hard to follow for why some of it's happening, and even the main character points that out. But overall, it does come pretty nicely together. The effects in this are very subdued because there's not a lot of like overt supernatural elements happening. Most of it's just you see the aftermath of these things, and the gore effects there are pretty good. But it's mostly just implications that's really drive this movie home, rather than actually showing it outright. And I find that very effective here. But for kind of spoiler things, the bit of what's actually going on is there's pretty much a tense scene at the end where he's told not to go home because if he does, the spell will fail, and his daughter will essentially, the demon inside her will not be excised, and well, everyone people will start dying, and including his daughter and himself. But the person who's telling him is the woman in white. Well, meanwhile, he's on the phone with the priest telling him, no, don't trust her. And she's telling him, no, he's in league with the Japanese man. Meanwhile, the Japanese man is already dead. Or is he? So, there's a lot going on there. So, for spoiler territory, the Japanese man's the devil. Literally. I don't think they're actually trying to play like a racist card here. This is mostly like just an outsider sort of thing. The devil pretty much took on a form that would knowingly be accused to essentially tempt people into accusing him. To essentially, one of the reasons his daughter was targeted is because he was unfairly accused and killed. I mean, but he pointed out that the main, which is kind of the part I'm still a little hazy on, is like his daughter he killed him after his daughter had already got sick. So it was more like no matter what happened, this was going to do, because it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. One of those things where but I think he was already accusing the Japanese man beforehand, even before he realized that he only killed him later. Which, I will say the effects on the devil version of him, while not the highest budget, were still creepy, and they worked. So there's some good stuff there. The lore on this, for him taking like shoes and the articles of clothing from the lower half of the body to curse people, while the woman in white was wearing a bunch of garments from the victims to try to protect them from the upper half. There's some cool little bits of lore there, but it's one of those things where he just saw her wearing those things and thought, okay, I can't trust her either. And the movie is delightfully bleak. There's like everything that can go wrong for these people does, and everything they do is just making their situation worse. So it's a bleak film, but a very good one. But a long one. This one's capping at over 2.5 hours, so invest some time here. But it's well worth it. Highly recommend The Wailing. As before, 7 McGuffins. Whew. See you soon, Void.